Welcome back to the Off Cycle and another update on this Pursuit 2270 project. Today I just have some updates in reference to the console, patching some holes, and doing some gel coat work as well as a little bit of wiring. So I had a large hole here with a piece of plexiglass and a small depth finder installed in it, and two other holes here where the stereo and the VHF were. The VHF is going to be moved, so all that had to be patched. I went ahead and blocked it off on the front as much as I could with a piece of stainless, and on this larger area here I just left the plexiglass in place while I put my fiberglass in there. I tried to gel coat it first, put gel coat in the base, but obviously due to the sealant where that plexiglass was, it meant some of the gel coat protruded farther than what was level on the dash, so I had to go back and basically just fair these out with some Total Fair. Once I got everything squared out and level, then I went ahead and taped off just the dash portion of the console and sprayed that with the gel coat that I got, the color match gel coat that I got. And from there it was just a matter of sanding down the tape seams and sanding it down further and further and buffing it out. I had already gone ahead and sanded down and buffed out a lot of the rest of this console while I was working on the other things, waiting for fairing compound to dry and things like that. So the console itself, this top half, is looking really good, and I'm really happy with how it turned out so far. I did get my switch panel made. This is just a piece of 6061 plate painted with appliance epoxy. I have an auxiliary port as well as a dual USB port and some simple switches that illuminate when they're depressed. All the switches are actually going to be tied in with the factory plug to the factory wire harness. So I did attempt to spray the gel coat on the transom using some Patch Aid / Patch Booster at a 30% ratio, which thinned it out decently. This is just using a cheap spray gun with a 2.0 tip on it. It started out okay, but my concern was in the heat that we have here in Jacksonville that the 2% mixture is really, really hot. So I only got about maybe a third of the transom sprayed before it started to gel over so bad it wouldn't even feed through the gun. Then I had to quickly basically just dump it back out of the gun and try to get the gun cleaned before everything really started to solidify in there. So I had to kind of abandon that idea. The heat we have up here is just not going to allow me to spray this stuff with Patch Aid. So the next day I waited till late evening when temperatures were cooler, and I went ahead and thinned out just a little bit, and I ended up rolling this layer on here. So rolling this layer on, and I'll go ahead back and sand it kind of smooth, and that'll help me see any other imperfections, although it is really, really flat. I'm really happy with how it's turned out so far. And then I ordered some Duratec, which I'm going to end up spraying my final coat with that. From what I understand with that, it can be put in the fridge or freezer and cooled down, as well as it gives a much better overall finish, less sanding required, and you get a longer working time with it as compared to the Patch Aid. So that's all the updates I have so far. I should have some more coming in the next few days as this boat's really coming together and falling in line, and hopefully be able to get this motor mounted and have this thing out on the water shortly.